Welcome back. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Bitcoin is on a run. I have spotted a new pattern. I don't think too many people were talking about. In fact, I haven't seen anybody talk about this new pattern that has developed. And the markets are up a little bit today into the close. So let's take a look at what is going on. The stock market rallied into the close a little bit. S&P finished up 1%. S&P, or the NASDAQ finished up 1%. S&P up 0.5%. Dow Jones kind of flat, but tech stocks are making a rebound, and there's a lot of similarities. This is Bitcoin on the daily here. There's a lot of similarities right now in the charts. Here's the Dow on the daily in this most recent price action, the S&P or NASDAQ, and then S&P. A lot of similar price action going on. And then when you look at the Bitcoin chart on the daily and the Ethereum chart on the daily, very similar, identical price action. And as you move through some of the altcoins, this last most recent price action is starting to look really, really similar with this bounce that we are seeing right now. So the question is this going to continue? Is this a new trend? Because it is definitely differing from previous market cycles in terms of that retracement after an all-time high. And one of the things that we have been tracking has been this parallel channel right here that a lot of people were talking about, that Bitcoin's been kind of following and looking at that longer. Let's put this on log scale so we can kind of see it. This longer term accumulative pattern here. And consolidating pattern where Bitcoin has been kind of ranging in this overall longer parallel channel. Of course, it changes when you put it on log. If you leave it on regular scale, these points line up a little bit better. But that channel that Bitcoin's been kind of hovering in on the upper range, down to the lower range, back to the upper range. So what you really want to see is you want to see price break the midline of this channel, which is going to be in about that $55,000, $56,000 price range, which would be the 618,702, and get above that to see any kind of upward movement and continuation of price to the upside to that $76,000 to $78,000 price range before you see another pullback, which is kind of what I've been talking about, looking at since the bottom back over here in January when we were taking a look at that. So let's take a look at something else that has emerged that I find kind of interesting, is that we just looked at this channel here, and here's what I'm seeing here that I haven't seen too many people, if any, excuse me, if any, talking about, and it's this channel that is emerging right here. So this is what I'm keeping my eye on now, is a new price channel that has emerged in this range right here using the wicks. Now, I usually like to use the daily closes, but the overall macro channel obviously goes from the wick highs and wick lows. So this local range channel here is doing the same thing. And as you can see, price has been dancing around below it, then it popped up above it, then below it. So it's been kind of dancing up and down this midline channel, kind of like on the larger macro range. And if you are looking for continuation of this channel, you can kind of extract the price out and see where that could potentially go over time, again, towards that $55,000, $60,000 range. So we could be in a market now with Bitcoin and Ethereum that continues a more steady upward climb. If you look at price on log scale over time, kind of like the entire chart of Bitcoin, instead of these big, giant, volatile moves, maybe price consolidates a little bit more and has a little bit more less volatile range, that price kind of continues to consolidate onward and upward towards those higher ranges and new higher term prices as you get more capital into the space, more adoption into the space, and more investment capital into the space. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. And obviously the thing to watch is what price does here, and what invalidates this theory. Obviously, if price breaks out and continues on, checks that, kind of continues on from there, which it very well could do, or it could stay kind of in this range here and then bounce along this top range for a while as price goes up. Maybe it breaks down below and then kind of continues to do that. as this channel continues onward and upward into the future, looking for those retracements that we've been talking about. And let's take a look at that. So originally, we were looking for the bottom to come in around that $35,000 range back here in January, and it came in right at 35, 36,000 where it closed, wicked down to 33. And the Fibonacci retracement that we talked about, the 618 to 702, is in that $55,500 to $58,000 range. So right now, price has just crossed the 382. So if it continues on, you got the 0.5 and then 618 in terms of a retracement. In terms of ranges that price is revisiting, is this whole range right here. So we had the first initial breakdown to a low back in December, and then had that bounce recovery, and that ended up landing at 382. So right now, this is a critical little stage here in terms of retracement. So right now, price is in that Fibonacci, that 382 Fibonacci retracement range, and it has broken through, but has not closed above yet. So today's close is important. If it closes above that 382 level, which is where it kind of stopped yesterday and is above right now on the daily, if it stays above that range, that's a good sign. You can look for continuation towards the 0.5 and then 618. If not, if it stays under that 382, then you have more of a situation like we had over here back in the end of December when price took off after that retracement right there. And that was a percentage gain from the wick low of about 15%, at least from right there. I guess the overall wick low was right here, so that'd be a different story. That was 25%. So let's kind of take that actually. If you look at this wick low, then the retracement, yeah, right up there to that 0.382, but it stopped at the 0.382. This time it's broken through that. So a lot of what's going on is obviously we have the Do Kwon purchases of $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. They're buying $100-something million a day. So a lot of that is pumping the price. Market makers are going to pump the price into that accumulation. When somebody telegraphs, hey, I'm buying $10 billion of Bitcoin, great time to jack the price and dump into that purchase that they're going to use to stake or to back Luna. Interesting little business model there. You can study that and see what you think about that whole thing, but very interesting business model in play. Let's take a look at Bitcoin on the hourly, and you can see these pumps here as price continues to kind of work its way up. And again, Ethereum is kind of following suit. Avalanche, everything is kind of following suit here. So this is a market maker, algorithmic driven price action right here that we're experiencing. So the next thing we're looking for is altcoins to follow, which they are. They're all kind of following this move. Some have pumped more than others, retracing that entire range that we were talking about right in here, going back to that December 27 timeframe. So these are the things that I'm looking at right now. And we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see which levels it runs to next. But right now, things have reversed in terms of the downward trend for the time being. So what we're looking for is continuation until these ranges break and price rolls back over into a consolidated range below that mid channel like we're talking about. So until then, I will see you on the next video.